Welcome to MGO TV1, your go-to channel for diving into the heart of history and cinema. Today we saddle up and ride back to the 1950s, exploring how Westerns laid the groundwork for action cinema as we know it. Back then, the West was wild, and the stories were filled with grit, honor, and enough gunpowder to make a mountain crumble. Don't forget to hit subscribe and join the journey. High noon, 1952. A small town baking under the midday sun. A lone lawman, duty-bound to face down a gang of killers. Gary Cooper, he was the heart of this one, staring down fear and facing the long shadow of death. High noon wasn't just about shootouts, though they were plenty tense. It was about the weight of a badge, the cost of courage when the whole town's too scared to stand with you. The real action? It was in the eyes, the ticking clock, the sweat drying on a man's brow. That's how you build suspense, real suspense. Shane, now there's a film that'll stay with you. A stranger rides in, a past he'd rather forget etched on his face. Alan Ladd, he was Shane, trying to outrun his own demons, finding himself protecting a family from the shadows of the mountains. But some stains, they don't wash out, not easy. Shane, he was trapped between who he was and who he wanted to be. The action, when it came, it was brutal, necessary. It left a mark, just like the movie itself. The Searchers, 1956. John Wayne, he wasn't always the white hat, not in this one. Haunted by loss, driven by vengeance, he walked a path darker than most. This wasn't just a story about finding someone. It was about facing the darkness within. The West, it could break a man, twist him, turn him into something he never thought he'd be. Wayne, he carried that weight, showed us the cost of obsession, the burden of the past. Chapter 4, Rio Bravo. Now there's a picture that understood camaraderie, loyalty forged in the fires of a good old-fashioned standoff. Howard Hawks, he knew how to direct, how to make you feel the grit in your teeth and the sweat on your back. John Wayne again, this time with Dean Martin and Ricky Nelson holding down a town against impossible odds. Chapter 5-3, 10 to Yuma. Glenn Ford, he played it cool, calculating, a rancher trying to get a dangerous outlaw to justice. But that outlaw, played by Van Heflin, he was a force of nature, all charm and menace. The tension, it crackled between them, a game of cat and mouse played out under a scorching sun. This wasn't just about getting to that train on time, it was about the choices men make, the fine line between right and wrong. Chapter 6, The Naked Spur. James Stewart, he played a bounty hunter driven by greed, willing to risk everything for a payday. But the West, it had a way of testing a man, stripping him bare, revealing his true nature. This wasn't a glamorous adventure, it was a descent into darkness, a struggle for survival where the lines blurred between hunter and prey. Chapter 7, Winchester, 73. One rifle, countless tales. The Winchester rifle. It was more than just a gun in this one, it was a symbol passed from hand to hand, connecting lives, changing destinies. James Stewart again, this time tracking the weapon he rightfully won, his journey weaving through tales of greed, revenge, and redemption. It showed us that even in the chaos of the West, even in the face of violence, there was always a glimmer of hope, a chance for a new beginning. Chapter 8, The Big Country, where the land mirrored the soul. The Big Country, 1958. They don't make them like this anymore. Wide open spaces. That's what you got, and a story to match. Gregory Peck, he came to this vast land looking for peace, found himself caught between two warring families. The land, it swallowed everything, reflected the passions, the grudges, the dreams of those who dared to tame it. Chapter 9, 7 men from now riding with a purpose. 7 men from now. Randolph Scott, he was a man with a score to settle, 7 names on his list, each one a ghost from a past he couldn't outrun. This wasn't just about revenge, it was about the journey, the encounters along the way, the choices that made a man question everything he thought he knew. Chapter 10, Johnny Guitar, A Ballad of Love and Bullets, Johnny Guitar, 1954. Now here's a film that dared to be different, a Western with the soul of a poet. Joan Crawford, she was unforgettable as Vienna, a saloon owner who challenged every convention. This wasn't just about shootouts, it was about love, loss, and the struggle for survival in a world that sought to break those who were different. Outro riding off into the sunset. These 10 westerns didn't just entertain, they laid the groundwork for decades of cinematic action. They showed us that the real action wasn't just in the explosions and the gunfights, but in the quiet moments of contemplation, the flickering emotions in a hero's eyes, the weight of a life hanging in the balance. Which of these classics is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to MGOTV1 for more cinematic adventures. See you next time.